All right, so someone asked, what does a typical breakfast look like on a training day? And so I figured I'd walk through it. Now I'm going to put a big disclaimer in front of this. The breakfast that I'm showing you here is expensive. Like, it is. I'm not saying that you have to do this by any means. I just want to walk you through kind of what I do for nutrition. Not that I'm perfect, but I want you to know I spend a lot of money on nutrition because I prioritize it. I think that it's an investment in my future, in my health. So I want you to, when you look at this, this is not a cheap breakfast. Obviously, you can go far cheaper than this, but this is important to me. So today I had a run, and before my run, and before all my cardio sessions, I normally do EndoFlow, which is from Simply Good. EndoFlow is basically a combination of betaine nitrate, this is basically a more effective beetroot juice. So I used Beet Elite for years, which is good for blood flow and nitrous oxide. And basically the new research is showing that betaine nitrate is going to be extremely effective. Basically, this is like beet juice on steroids. So normally before every cardio session, I'm going to take this as pre-workout. And I'm going to take it as first thing when I wake up in the morning. So normally EndoFlow. Then I went for my run this morning. And now I'm coming and making my shake. So for me, I drink A2 milk. A2 milk there's two different types of proteins when it comes to milk. And A2 is theoretically or conceptually easier on digestion. So I used to have trouble with milk. And ever since I've switched to A2, it's been a lot better. So for my base, I'm using A2 milk. And then what I've got in here is I get this breakfast mix from a place called Crucial 4. And this is basically a combination of, you've got mushrooms in here, so you've got a functional mushrooms blend. Then you've got all these kind of really unique herbs. You can see everything from pine pollen. This even has colostrum. This has Icelandic salt. It's got cocoa. This is a really unique breakfast that tastes freaking delicious, and it's got just this unique blend of really hard to find. It's super clean, super awesome. So this is the main source of my protein shake. And then to get actual protein in here, I am actually taking 2 collagens, and this one has specific peptides for the bone. So you see how it says Fortibone? Fortibone is a unique collagen just for bone health. So I combine this, and then this is from Salt Wrap, which is the same thing. So this has, you can see Fortigel and Tendifort. So this has unique collagen peptides for the tendon, cartilage, and ligament. So between these two, I do 1 scoop of this, 1 scoop of that. That gives me about 30 grams of protein. But what it's going to do, it's going to have my collagen peptides for my bone and for my tendons. Now, to make sure that I have enough calcium for my bone, I actually do what's called pearl powder. So this is pearl powder, and this is from the same company, Crucial 4. And I know that sounds insane. Pearl powder was used in Asia, in the East, for I think thousands of years. But the biggest thing I want you to see is pearl powder in a half tablespoon is going to have 1,500 milligrams of calcium. And it's going to have these things called signal proteins, which are going to help with bone density. So for me, since I do a lot of running, I want to make sure that I protect my bones. And so for me, I'm going to get my highly bioavailable calcium from pearl powder. So I do a half tablespoon of that. And then to make sure, so a lot of people think calcium when it comes to bone density. Obviously, calcium is going to have a lot to do with bone density, but it can't get into the bone unless we have vitamin K. So vitamin K, the best vitamin K that's actually properly dosed, because 99% of vitamin K that you see online or at Sprouts or Whole Foods is too low in terms of dosage. This is from MitoLife. I get a lot of my supplements from MitoLife. And you can see here that vitamin K1 has 1,000 micrograms, vitamin K2, 2,000 micrograms, and vitamin K2, 400. Most vitamin K2 will only have like 50 micrograms. So this actually has the proper dosage. So with it, what we don't want to do is we don't want to just slam a bunch of calcium, whether that's from like pearl powder, milk, yogurts. Like slamming a bunch of calcium without enough vitamin K2 is just absolutely the wrong play, because we need the calcium to get into the bones. And if we just take, like, a lot of people take like calcium supplements and they think that's making their bones dense. But I want you to think about vitamin K2 is like the Ubers or the bus drivers that get the calcium where it needs to be. If we just take a bunch of calcium and we don't get it into the bone, that it ends up in our soft tissue and arteries. That's the calcification of soft tissue and arteries that we don't want. So vitamin K is a superpower. I'm not telling you you have to get this, but vitamin K, magnesium, and vitamin D are the three most important things to protect our bone density. And if you're watching this and you're an endurance athlete or you're training for, a pipeline or anything like that, the one thing we want to prevent is bone stress injuries. So anyway, so I make sure that I take one of these. So all this calcium that I'm getting from my pearl powder, from my A2 milk, actually goes where it needs to. And then I like to add some more performance mushrooms. This is for immune health and energy from Laird Superfoods. Just because anytime you have something like this where it's like a blend, you're not getting that much. So then I add another little scoop of this. And then what I've got in here, like I said, I've got collagen that is specific to my tendons, ligaments, and bones. I've got calcium. I've got tons of calcium to help with all the bone damage I sustain in ultra running. I've got vitamin K that I take with it to make sure it gets into the right place. And then, like I said, it tastes like a little chocolatey blend. Obviously, if I wanted to go crazier, I could theoretically add a scoop of whey protein, like chocolate whey protein, which I do. So if I ever do, I like Transparent Labs. So I might add one scoop of this, but it sometimes can get a little thick. And that is my breakfast. It is super nutritious. I did this after my run. I'm not telling you, once again, you could literally have oatmeal and that would still be great. You could have banana, right? This is expensive, but remember, this is an investment, and I am stating that. That gives you guys a little bit of an idea of what I might do for a normal breakfast. To get the cardio I need in, I normally have to do a cardio session right away. A lot of times, I go for my morning ride or run, and I'm fueling during that session, but this is normally what I get right after, so that I've got plenty of energy throughout the day. So, do you have to buy any of this? No, but that gives you guys an idea of how it looks like to do some post-workout fuel.